It's been a very participatory service, and we are going to continue down that line because as I was reading this week's Torah portion, I was really struck by one line that I think has a really perplexing meaning. The rabbis have a lot to say about it, and I was curious what all of you were going to have to say about it too. In this week's Torah portion, so I'm going to pass out a text sheet. If you could pass copies to those that you are sitting near, that would be wonderful. This week, we see the Israelites getting a new leader, or at least appointing a new leader, which does not happen often in the Torah. We've had Moses for quite some time. I think I have enough of them, but if not, we can share as well. Here you go. Just want to get everybody the text, and then we can dig into it together. Here we go. Of course. If there are extra on this side, we're going to pass to this side because I don't think I divided very, very well. There are more over here. I made 80, so I know that there are enough for all of us. Well, in this week's Torah portion, Moses appoints a successor, or God appoints a successor to Moses. And there is only one trait that this person is named as having that make this individual, Joshua, suitable to lead the Israelites into the land of Israel. Remember, Moses is not allowed to enter the land of Israel. He's been banned by God. He's led the Israelites out of Egypt through the desert for 40 years. He's done quite a lot. We've heard a lot of stories about him. And now this new guy, Joshua, because of this one trait that we're going to read about, is apparently the person that is going to lead our whole community forward. So we're going to look at 3 verses of Torah, and we're going to do a little bit of thinking and talking to each other as a community. The phrase that I was looking for came from the book of Numbers, chapter 27, verses 16 to 18. So I'm going to start by reading it to all of us, and then you'll each dig into that phrase. So it goes, "Let Adonai, source of the breath of all flesh, appoint someone over the community, who shall go out before them and come in before them, and who shall take them out and bring them in, so that Adonai's community may not be like sheep who have no shepherd." And Adonai answered Moses, "Single out or take thee Joshua, son of Nun, an inspired man," in Hebrew it's ish asher ruach bo, "and lay your hand upon him." And with that, Moses' successor is appointed. So we'll notice that the only quality that this individual is said to have is ish asher ruach bo, an inspired man or a person who has spirit within him. There's many ways you can translate this phrase. JPS says inspired man. The New King James Version says a man in whom is the Spirit. And a Kahani translation says the man who possesses the spiritual qualifications. So when you hear that phrase, ish asher ruach bo, a person who has ruach within him. Ruach can mean many things.
I was just with some of the women over here on a retreat, and we discussed the word ruach. Remember? What did we say that it means?
Exactly, it means wind, it can mean spirit, it can mean, and ruachiyot, right, means spirituality. So we don't know what this ruach,
wind,
spirit.
It could mean wind, and here it says breath, by the way.
Exactly.
So it has a lot of meaning.
It has a lot of meaning. So having this idea of ruach inside of you is what makes Joshua an acceptable leader for the Israelites. So there are 4 rabbis who I quoted at the bottom of this sheet who have different opinions about what it means to have spirit within them. I would love for you to read them with a person next to you and see what can you pick out. What do each of these rabbis think ruach bo, having spirit within, means for the Israelites? So take 2-3 minutes, talk to the person next to you, read these commentaries at the bottom of the page, don't turn it over yet, and figure out what do you think ish asher ruach bo means. I like hearing all of these whispers. Take another minute just on the front page. And for those of you online, again, this is Numbers 27, 16 to 18. You can look it up online while you're streaming our service. All right, so you just saw some different interpretations of this phrase. Did any of them stand out to you as, I really agree with this, or maybe I really don't agree with this? Sydney, what did you say? Sforno, what about it? What did you like or not like? The name sounded like Sephora, that is true. What did you like or not like about his commentary?
Torah speaks about people equipped with endowed and necessary amount of Holy Spirit to able them to perform a task allocated to them.
You thought that that was really important. So Sydney thought that being endowed with a necessary amount of Holy Spirit, of godliness, was required to perform a task. How come?
I don't know, I just thought it.
You just thought it. It's something that you think a leader should have some ruach within them. The Torah agrees with you, Sydney. Yes. And I'll repeat it back, Jill, don't worry.
Okay, I liked the last one,
She liked the last one.
in whom there is spirit, that is, he is independent in his views and is not drawn after urges for his own pleasure or that of others. So I like the ability to stand up for his own values.
Beautiful. She liked the last one, which is ha'emek hadavar, a man in whom there is spirit, that he is independent in his views and is not drawn after urges for his own pleasure or that of others. He was strong in his values and rooted in his values. That's what ruach meant to you. Beautiful. Yeah.
It seems like Rashi was agreeing with Sifrei Bamidbar.
Yes.
Right. So, and I thought that was interesting in the context, in that it's not necessarily how it seemed Moses led.
That's a great point. So the Rashi and the Sifrei Bamidbar say someone who's able to deal with the character of each individual person, right? More individualized. And Moses was more group and responded to each individual crisis. No?
Yes, exactly, but not each individual.
Exactly. Like as things arose, Moses wasn't proactive about it, but it sounds like this is implying Joshua could be and more nuanced.
And Moses was leading a group, and I think as, the Israelites became Israelites, they became individuals as well.
So she's saying that Moses was leading a group and that as the Israelites entered the promised land, they became individuals in addition to being a community. Anything else stand out from these commentaries? Any other hands? What else could ruach, spirit within, mean? Anything else that stood out to anybody? It's an interesting phrase, right? It's not something that I would have necessarily thought was the number one and only number one trait that you would require for a leader. But yet, this is what our Torah asks of Joshua this week. I'd like you to take a moment and think of a leader that you admire, not just a leader you see on TV, but someone that you admire. And what traits, who is it, first of all, and what traits does that person have? Is this ruach, this spirit within, one of the traits that you would say that person has? Think about that. And share that leader, those traits, and if they have ruach of spirit with the person next to you. Enjoy. take another minute, and I have 3 really interesting ones to share with you already. So I just heard 3 interesting ones in my wanderings around, and I'm sure there were more that came up. Leonard over here thought that ruach bo could be the milk of compassion. Having the milk of compassion within you is a way to translate ish asher ruach bo. Thank you, Leonard. Over here, Rabbi Bennett and Rita Semmel said that perhaps it is having a passion for making good trouble could be what it means to have ruach within you. I love that one, and Rita is someone who likes making some good trouble. And then over here, the Mathis family was talking about charisma, that maybe that spirit, that ruach within could be charisma. There are certain people that when they walk into a room, you are instantly drawn to them. And that can be a great thing, right? With like people like potentially they said Barack Obama or with Rabbi Jonathan. And that can also be something that some people have charisma and they may not have the type of charisma that you want to follow, right? There's something that can be dangerous about that spark. So there's lots of different ways that we can read this term. If you turn your page over, there are 2 drash, like little interpretations about Joshua specifically that can shed a little bit more light. There's no right or wrong way to translate this phrase though. So part of the teaching tonight is just getting your own juices flowing about what does it mean to be a leader from what our Torah teaches us. So the first text here is from Bamidbar Rabbah, which is stories that the rabbis wrote about Bamidbar, about Numbers, and it states, Joshua served you much and showed you great honor. It was he who rose early in the morning and remained late at night at the house of assembly. He used to arrange the benches, and he used to spread the mats. Seeing that he has served you with all of his might, he is worthy to serve Israel, for he shall not lose his reward. More of like a servant leadership, right? He led by doing day in and day out. He did the tasks that were necessary, kept showing up consistently, wasn't necessarily seeking out glory. And that is what precisely made him worthy of being the Israelites' next leader. That matches with, fun fact, I wrote my thesis about someone named James Weldon Johnson. Does anyone know that name? Yeah? What do you know about him? Famous writer. He was a famous writer. He wrote Lift Every Voice and Sing, which Lift Every Voice is on, yes, exactly. He created tons. I'm very much obsessed with this person, so if you want to know more about him, I wrote my whole thesis undergrad about it. But one thing that's really stuck with me about him, he was the first black secretary of the NAACP. Believe it or not, the NAACP was led by white people when it was first founded, and he was the first one that took charge of it as a black man. And his theory of leadership really resonated with me, and I thought resonated with this Bamidbar Rabbah text. It's on the bottom. It says, of the real leader, the people someday become aware and say, this man serves well, let us follow him. And then the final text that I'll share with you all today is from Rabbi Lauren Birkin, who is now at the Hartman Institute, who will be featuring lots of Hartman scholars this coming year. And she writes, the term Ruach Elohim is employed many times in the Torah, which means Spirit of God. It is a term that often describes inspired leaders. However, Joshua is described merely as a man in whom there is Ruach, spirit or wind or whatever we want to say. I believe there is a profound teaching behind the unadorned description of Joshua's nature. Yes, each and every living being has the spirit breath of God within. So too, each and every person has the potential to be a leader, a shepherd, and inspiration. We do not need special prophecy or magical powers to make a significant contribution in our community. Moses is a daunting role model. How could anyone assume his position of authority? However, in these simple verses about Joshua, we learn that each one of us possesses the source within for exceptional leadership, each in our own way. Perhaps Joshua's strength was his awareness of that spirit. Perhaps if we each embrace the Spirit within, we too could cross rivers, fight important battles, and protect the people we love. May God help us all to experience and celebrate our Ruach so that we, like Joshua, can carry on the sacred work of Moses, our teacher. Amen.